Yo, what up? Today we got a banger region for y'all, the Kharidian Desert. I foresee this as being a must take for pretty much everyone, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here, so let's talk about it. Notable areas of the Kharidian Desert: you got Sithrid Abbey, Menaphos, Sophanim, Polnivnich, and the Heart. Um, Also, we get ancient magics in the desert. I don't know what they're going to do as far as auto unlocking. We'll have to see. They might just give us desert treasures so we have it. But then, depending on what else we get, there's the Sentistan Ancient Magics, which there's 4 spells on that, and they provide some good combat buffs. And then there's the Siren spells. Now, they might just auto complete that with Tyrannwyn. So if you don't take Tyrannwyn as well, you might not get those, but there's some good skilling benefits to those spells. Sithrid Abbey is where you get devotion from that quest. Hopefully auto unlocked. Menaphos, there's a lot of skilling stuff to do there. Sophanim, Slayer Dungeon. Polnivnich, not too much around there, but some bandits to pickpocket, and the Profane Scabrite layer is just northwest of it. And then the big one's the Heart. Inside the Heart is where God Wars 2 takes place. And a lot of good stuff you can get from there. So we'll talk about the bosses next. As you can see, a lot of stuff to go through here. We'll start from like the lower tier and work up, I guess. Got the Calphite Queen. I got the Dung Pile by her because really no notable drops. Maybe a Reaper task, or if you're doing Necromancy, there will be an upgrade task to kill Calphite Queen. Calphite King, kind of the first notable boss out there in the wild or in the desert. He drops the tier 90 Dragors. There's 6 different weapons. They're all melee, so dual wield melee weapons from Calphite King. Kind of hard to solo. Maybe later on, once you have a bunch of the combat blessings, it should be pretty doable solo. Or if not, you can grab a buddy and turn on loot share and do it that way. And then inside the heart, you have 4 bosses, and then kind of the pinnacle boss of that dungeon, Telos. So from Vindicta and Gorvek, you can get the Dragon Rider Lance, halberd range weapon, so 2 range melee weapon, 2-handed. Very good melee upgrade. And all the weapons from these 4 bosses are tier 85s. And then you have the Twin Furies, which drop the Blade of Avarice and the Blade of Namora. 2 dual wield melee weapons. Grigorovic, kind of an annoying boss to kill, but if you want to get your range upgrade from here, he drops the Shadow Glaive and offhand Shadow Glaive. So you get those from him. And then for magic upgrade, we got Hellweir. He drops the Wand of the Cywer Elders and the Orb of the Cywer Elders. So, pretty strong place to get upgrades, and I'd say these are like kind of the late end of middle game for the respective styles. And then at the end, once you've killed all 4 of those, you'll get a little piece of a sigil. You put that together, and you unlock Telos. He is a enraged scaling boss, so he starts at 0 and goes all the way up to 4,000. And the longer streak you do, plus the higher in rage you go, the more common loot, the more chance of getting rare loot you have. So definitely streaking is the way to go for him. He drops an upgrade at tier 92 for all 3 original styles: the Saren Godbow, Staff of Sliske, and Zero's Godsword. He also drops the Reprisal Codex, which is an ability where you activate it, it keeps track of all the damage you take over the next 6 seconds, and then at the end of that time, it releases the damage back to your target. So for the 3 different weapons to work, you have to get an orb set. So Talos will drop these 3 different colored orbs. Once you have all 3 of them, you can charge up one of the tier 92 weapons. And then we have the Magister. He requires. I should have had this figured out. Let's go mid break pause. Let's see. What level does Magister require? He has a very high Slayer level, and you can't kill him in 115 Slayer, and kind of a bit of a nothing boss because he kind of just drops these melee gloves, which are good in the end game, but to grind out 115 Slayer and then kill him, which you need a key to the crossing, which is dropped from a Slayer monster, and to stack up enough of those to get those is probably not going to be worth your time, but he is there in case you want to. You have Rs3's raids, which are Beastmaster and Yakamaru. Take these on, and in leagues you could probably do it in as little as like a 5-man theme, maybe less, depending on your skill level. But the main appeal from those 2 is that they drop the Mazcap ability codex, which gives you Corruption Blast and Corruption Shot, range and magic AoE abilities that are very helpful for training. They also drop tank set armors, probably not super useful in leagues, but they are there as well. And then you're kind of end game of the league boss to grind out with some friends or kill, which is why I think this is one of the go-to regions because it has an actual good end game group boss encounter, which I like doing. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But she drops the Tumikin's Light, which is a 2-handed halberd range weapon that is going to be your best in slot for killing like melee slayer, AoE melee best in slot. The Devourer's Nexus, kind of not great. It gives you a little bit of a damage boost, but it makes it so that your ghost doesn't heal when using necromancy, which is one of the big appeals of necromancy, so it kind of kills that appeal. The Devourer's Guard, tier 95, necromancy main hand, pretty comparable to the guard you get from Resile, so either or there. Shard of Genesis, a Masket drops. Also, as we talked about, Shard of Genesis comes from Sanctum of Rebirth. So it's just another way to get it. The drops the Tumikin's robes, hood, body, legs, gloves, and boots, which is the best in slot magic gear. Yeah, so a lot of good drops in there. Very, very good if you're going magic. It's going to be a must do if you want to hit those highest tiers of damage potential. Slayer creatures that are in the desert. We got Ripper Demons, which if we somehow get access to Ancient Summoning, I feel like it probably pretty unlikely, but you can kill those to get the pouches and have your own Ripper Demons to summon. Very strong DPS summoning familiar. Got Profane Scaberites, which drop the Spectral Lens, which is the Slayer attachment slash Slayer helmet for Necromancy. It's the Black Mask equivalent, basically. Those drop from there. And then you have the Sophanum Slayer dungeon, which is very good for XP, as those mobs down there are in pretty good numbers and pretty confined to one area. You have Corrupted Creatures, which there's a handful of different versions. This is the Corrupted Dust Devil. And then you have the Soul Devourers, which are like the next tier down there. And those will be labeled like Crocodile Auk, Feline Auk. So those you can do on Slayer Task. The skilling methods we have in the desert are very strong. Another good reason for taking the region. Once you get 95 thieving, you have the Vault of Herodatus, which drops the Legatus's Ember Staff, magic upgrade, and then the equivalent tier Gloomfire Bow, I believe these are 290s. And then the Misa Lionar's Death Mask, which is a necromancy helmet, and it gives you the same set effect as the robes of the first necromancer. And you can attach this to a crown of the first necromancer if you have that already to get like two pieces of the set effect in one slot. So that's really strong. To get your thieving up to that high, we have safe cracking that you can do in El Kharid and in Menethos. Het's Oasis is a good place to train agility through the agility course, and then it's got one of the best hunter training methods through whirligigs. A bunch of different tiers of those based on what flower you put in the flower basket. Once you unlock soul rune crafting, you have that available to you, so long as all the quests required and reputation is auto completed, or if you do it yourself. Menethos has good skilling methods for fishing and woodcutting. If we do get access to the crystallized spell, which is in the Saren spell of the ancient magics, crystallizing and chopping acacia trees is some of the best woodcutting XP you can get. And then the different fish you can fish within Menethos are some of the best fishing XP you can get because they have a pretty high fish success rate. More thieving stuff is the marketeers and the market guards. Once you unlock the market guards, they're a very good source of hard and elite clues with a rare chance at a master as well. So usually there's some points in the league surrounding clues. That's a good way to get them. And then you have the Kharidian dig site, which coupling that with the Infernal Source dig site that we're just going to have by default because it's in the starting region, you should be able to train archaeology to 120 with those two sites. They'll have a good mix of spots to go to. So yeah, the desert's just jam packed with boss upgrade, like good Slayer monsters. The Sophanum Slayer dungeons, some of the best tasks you can get. Great upgrades from the boss for the mid to late game, and then some really good skilling methods. So I highly recommend the desert. Let me know down below if you are taking the desert and why or why not. See you in the next one.